according to your perspective, how is it important to understand the system thinking beyond just APIs?
Yeah, it is important. How do you design your APIs? That is important. The technology by which you are designing the backend, that hardly matters. You should learn how to abstract the things out. Basically, that will happen gradually over a period of time. Learning any backend technology, that's not a big issue as such. You should be open to work in any of the technology. By that, you are more flexible. Basically, that you can switch to the projects. You can contribute across the projects in your organization.
Which person will hold more value according to your perspective?
I think the person who has his concepts clear, that will be the one who will crack the interview, obviously.
So, hello everyone, welcome back to another exciting episode of this podcast session. I am Pratik Savekar, your new host, and today we are diving deep into the world of Java, backend systems, and engineering leadership with none other than Mr. Vaibhav Joshi, sir. And the interesting part here is, sir brings over 15 years of industry experience working with companies like Credit Suisse, Cognizant, Globant, and currently as a lead developer at Avaloq. Moreover, he's very passionate about Java, microservices, cloud, and has been a key figure designing scalable system in the fintech and banking domain. So super excited to have you here, sir. So the first question is, sir, you had such a solid journey in backend engineering. So the question is, what initially drew you towards this Java and enterprise development when you started your career?
So first of all, I mean, when I was an intern, basically, we were given choice, like whether you want to work on C++, Linux, Windows, and all, and Java was also an option. So we were asked to give the priorities, basically. So Java was my third priority, basically, but there was a random distribution of the interns, and yeah, so be it. Then I landed onto a Java based project internship, and from then on, like, I never looked back, actually. It's
So switching into the Java was not a first priority; it was with the flow.
yes, yeah, because at that time I was doing my internship for MSc Computer Science, and during that internship in our organization, you were actually supposed to work on a live project, maybe act as a buffer resource, or maybe do some POCs. And that technology, choice of that technology was on us, actually. But ultimately, I mean, the allocation was obviously we gave our choices, but the allocation was based on certain criteria. So that's how I landed on to Java, basically.
So, sir, are you were that type of student who was working, like ऐसा होता है ना कि starting में from the college life only, you started working on the live projects, or you started working on the project when you joined for the internship?
Started working on a project, but for the first semester, I mean, it's the last semester of MSc Computer Science. So I did a POC, or maybe you can say a pilot project, which was then a possible candidate to get converted into a live project, actually. Back in 2008, I would say.
What were the technical skills helped you to navigate such high stakes projects?
Yeah, technical skills is basically, I mean, you should be open to learn any framework, like be it Spring or be it Google Juice, anything. So your basic programming skills should be is the one that matter, and your desire, or you should love programming, basically. That's that's the, I mean, only skill that is required, or maybe your passion. That's more important than the skills.
Was it decided from the beginning only you will be like this into the programming world, or
Yeah, I wanted to do programming. I mean, since the beginning of my career, I didn't want to go into the managerial roles and all. So I wanted to pursue computer science, and that was my passion. And also programming and data structures was also my passion. So I mean, it happened in the flow. Like, it was my passion, it was my interest, and I went ahead to do what I like, basically.
so we can say this is the passion and purpose. This is what led you here. So at here in ITM, we learned backend using Node.js and full stack project also from the third semester.
Yes.
So based on your work with the Spring Boot and microservices, what we will say, like according to your perspective, how is it important to understand the system thinking beyond just APIs?
Yeah, it is important. Basically, how do you design your APIs? That is important. The technology by which you are designing the backend, that hardly matters. You should learn basically how to, abstract the things out. Basically, that will happen gradually over a period of time. So, learning any backend technology, that's not a big issue as such. You should be open to work in any of the technologies, basically. So beyond the APIs, basically, yes, it is good to know various backend technologies. That would help, basically, because you by that you are more flexible, basically. That you can switch to the projects, you can contribute across the projects in your organization.
With all your project experience and industry experience, uh, how we will say कि that was or a specific project was my favorite, उसमें ज़्यादा experience मिला, knowledge मिली.
Yeah, identify one project. Back in 2012, we were working on one of the Indian clients. Basically, it was Infomedia 18, and that was the project when I was using many cutting edge frameworks. At that time, we were using Spring, I think 2.5. We were using Hibernate, and that was new for me. We were using the search engine optimization tool like Solar, basically. Various other modules were there, and I was a contributor for the product management module, and also some of the generic frameworks, basically, generic classes that were used within that ecosystem. That project actually lasted in less than a year, actually, but that was one of the best projects of my life, actually.
Sir, the next question is from the student perspective.
Yes.
So this is the added question from our students. They want to know if any person who is interested in Java development, what should they focus on, like in early frameworks like Spring, Core, Java, or design patterns?
Basically, the constructs of the Java language, basically, and the only way to implement, learn a language is to program in it, basically. So they should try to code the algorithms, basically, some of the data structures, and then comes design patterns, basically the design aspect. But as a student, I should practice a lot, basically. The more you practice data structures like linked list, binary tree, that's the only way to learn any language, basically. When you learn the constructs, you solve certain algorithms, you solve certain problems. That's how. And the next step is design, basically.
Right. So even in the workshop, as you said,
Yes.
the perspective of we can say hiring perspective. So if a student is going for the interview type,
Yes.
so if he's well prepared with whatever you
Yes.
said with this all the basic constructures and the solid whatever you taught us, okay. So with that thing, a person with a degree and a person with a certification, which person will hold more value according to your perspective, according to his understanding?
I think the person who has his concepts clear, that will be the one who will crack the interview, obviously. To the interviewer, it hardly matters. Whether it is a diploma or a degree or anything. That's the beauty of the software industry. Like
The reason why I ask these questions are because in our society most of the people do say कि डिप्लोमा किया है तो ज़्यादा स्कोप नहीं है, ये BCA MCA किया है तो ज़्यादा स्कोप नहीं है, you should do degree, you should do MTech. So this is the reason why I ask कि डिग्री ज़्यादा वैल्यू होल्ड करेगी या उसकी नॉलेज एंड पर्सपेक्टिव?
obviously, when it comes to job, his knowledge, but getting higher education is also, yeah, it's a beneficial thing in a long term. For example, if you're doing MTech, basically it is quite an extensive program. It has, I think, 1 year internship, and it has certain advanced topic as well. So getting educated will obviously open more doors. Like you will be getting more chances for the interviews, but it's ultimately your skill that matters while cracking the interviews.
So the same question goes to with your certification, like you are certified in Microsoft Azure and Oracle Cloud. So how important we can say that cloud knowledge is today for the backend and full stack developer?
Cloud is a de facto deployment platform, I would say. So it is very much essential nowadays, because things are more or less moving to the managed environments, and I mean the traditional infrastructure is hardly getting used. People have moved to Amazon and Azure, and maybe to a slight extent GCP or the Google Cloud platform or Oracle Cloud platform. So those are nowadays they are bread and butter for deployment and all. And students can learn frameworks or technologies like Terraform. Basically, that way their learning of the cloud technologies will get simplified. Basically, if they learn Terraform, which is a framework for infrastructure as a code. Yes, definitely. It's a declarative framework, Terraform.
Sir, okay. So we had cover your working experience. Okay. So now I want to ask, what was your experience like? You have switched with the industry companies also, right? So what was your experience with this the role you played at the Credit Suisse?
Yeah, I was a technical lead. I mean, the designation was AVP, Assistant Vice President, but basically it was a tech lead role. I was supposed to manage a team of like 6 to 8 developers, as well as I was supposed to contribute to basically their functionalities, and that was an exciting role for me. We had cracked a couple of functionalities basically, and within a given deadline, we could solve. For example, there was an application called as Book Builder basically, and there was some feature called as Campaign Management, and there was a team of two Scrum teams, basically two Scrum teams, and the bank, which was Credit Suisse, they decided to cut short on the vendors basically. So the job of two Scrum teams basically came to our shoulders. We were like 5 to 6 developers, and the challenge was to understand the requirements and deliver the campaign management functionality as soon as possible, like 3 to 4 months timeline. I was the technical lead there, basically because I was an experienced person in that project basically, and across. So we were having a suite of applications like Book Builder, then there was portfolio advisory and monitoring. So basically the interaction, then coding basically, and coding with a good quality was a challenge for me, along with guiding the junior developers basically. So I sat along with them basically to contribute to their basically the development and also their code reviews, which is more important.
We can say this was not only your career growth, but it molded you as an individual person also. So how will you frame that? Ki in this way, it helped me in my self development or self growth.
Yeah, I got to know the perspectives of the other developer by doing code reviews. Basically, I got to know how to manage people, how to think. If there is a junior person who is having his or her own technical aspirations, how can you fulfill his or her aspirations while being his mentor? Basically, how can you uh, cultivate the passion? That's what I learned basically.
So the same thing. If we students with a long term perspective, if we say कि हाँ long run में शायद ये हमें भी experience होगा,
Yes.
तो उसे और अच्छे तरीके से cultivate करने के लिए what should we do to practice this now? For example, can we do with the hackathons or group team so that we can get the new perspective of new coders and all?
Definitely. Basically, I mean, you can have hackathons, small projects, maybe industry mentors can judge them. And there are events that are happening, and students nowadays. I mean, in your facility, I mean, there is a lot that you are providing basically, and students have a very valuable asset at the moment, which is their time, because they have like 3 to 4 years of their career when they are only doing learning. So they should utilize it to the maximum extent.
So I guess we are on the right path here in ITM because every 3 to 4 months we do participate in hackathons. Even ITM do organize hackathons to build that business oriented mindset. So whatever we are building, we can provide it in a business way. So what we are building, it should be helpful for the society and organization. So it is, of course, it is helping us to be like that.
And especially nowadays in India, I mean, there is a trend of doing a startup, basically doing something like freelancing or maybe contributing to open source projects. So nowadays the things are changing. Basically, the whole ecosystem is growing very rapidly. Maybe 10 to 12 years down the line, it was not so fast. I mean, the requirement was like 3 to 4 things like cloud, you should have initial knowledge, maybe 2 to 3 backend technologies, 2 to 3 front end frameworks, and that was it. But technology ecosystem is changing very, very rapidly. With an introduction of AI, basically, it brings another angle to it. So students now have a voluminous number of things actually to in their horizon actually, but the basic thing remains the same, that is practice and practice actually. And if you are doing hackathon which is industry oriented, and if there is someone like from the industry which is who is guiding to the students, it will be of great help to give them right direction.
So one more thing, as you said, you have a very long experience of industry. I guess it's 15, right? Yeah. So having given it a thought कि like आपके पास इतना बड़ा experience है industry का, you know very well कि how to do the team works, how to do all the things. Have you ever gave it a thought कि you should give a chance to a startup or anything?
Yeah, I mean, I'm more like passionate about teaching. I am a mentor basically. I am, I mean, I have not switched that in a full-fledged manner, but my intention is to do that. Uh, Startups, to be honest, I have never thought of it. Like, I mean, it still has some time left. Like, I once I'll be like, somewhat free, like, I gain more experience, I might be able to do that actually.
So as you experience of teamwork and management and all the company switches and all that huge experience, you have mentioned rolling up your sleeves when needed,
Yes.
right? So how do you balance deep technical contribution with team management and delivery accountability?
Yeah, management was not always easy. Basically, I had to stretch my working hours, but that's what it is, right? I mean, if you are passionate about delivering something, you don't see like whether you are working 12 hours or 14 hours a day, because that's your passion, right? You work on weekends, you have to sacrifice something, right? There is nothing. I mean, you cannot succeed if you are not willing to sacrifice.
Right.
Yeah.
So as you said, ki, moreover for building networks and having the perspective of how do other developers works.
Yes.
So here our ITM programs also offers the 1 year internship and 1 to 1 mentorship also, which is going really good. And from your experience, what a student can do during the internship to really impress our mentors or senior leads.
If he's assigned a mentor, basically, he should collaborate with him at least twice a month, and iteratively he should showcase something. Like, after 1 month, he should be able to demonstrate something. That's when the mentor will be able to give a correct or more appropriate feedback to him. Like than he coming after 6 months and the things going
The
goes out.
change is not growing or something else, so it will be not worthful, right?
Yes, yes. After 3 to 4 months, I mean, if I suggest something different, it will be difficult for him. So, frequent iterative development, that would be more useful for him.
Sir, how was your first experience of first internship?
It was great actually. I mean, my mentor was from CDAC. He was a CDAC pass out, and he was quite technical actually. During our times, I mean, our internship, we had to get a confirmation of our internship whether we have passed or not for an employment. So we were kind of afraid, like, whether we'll be passing the internship or not. But after 3 to 4 months of my internship, I came to know that I will be eligible for a permanent employment. So yeah, that was very exciting. And working under, so his name was Kamlesh basically. He's a vice president in Deutsche Bank actually. And my first company is closest to my heart, which is Persistent Systems. I was trying to pursue post graduation from my company, and my company always helped me to, Persistent always helped me to uh, give me a sponsorship into IITs and all. So that was a great experience.
Sir, all over your working experience now, it's more about building something, right? So we are here to in the hackathons in our curriculum. We are here to build complete the products, or it's a business oriented thing. So from front end to back end and to cloud and to pitching them. How useful is this to full stack plus business mindset in the real world development?
It's quite useful actually. It's quite useful because as an individual, like I said, I mean, today's mindset is also shifted towards being a startup guy or towards being a freelancer. Basically, you should also think in that direction, right? Because traditional jobs are there, yes, obviously, but the scenario is changing, right? If you can see that, for example, layoffs are happening too frequently, right? So companies have also started looking it from ultimately, if you work for someone, it's a business for that company, right? Ultimately, it's a business. So trend towards freelancing or startups has also increased, which means a developer has to own end-to-end development, right? End-to-end scenario. So it's quite useful to have both front-end and back-end skills as well as the clouds. Rather than it is essential. I mean, gone are the days like, you can only be a back-end developer basically, because if you can see, all of my career was majorly into back-end development. But at the moment, gone are those days actually. You should be able to do full stack. That's the need of the hour.
Okay. Sir, then finally, if you go back to your college days or college times, what will be the golden rule for long-term success in tech?
Golden rule for long term success. Yeah, follow what you like, basically, your passion. You will eventually get success.